Thank you for joining us today at the Chai Academy. I'm Rabbi Sachs, and I look forward to having the next half hour or so sharing it together with you. So, we have been discussing. This is the fourth in a series. Each one is separate, but we have been discussing Rabbi Zoma, or Ben Zoma, Shimon Ben Zoma. He walked us through some definitions of who is wise was his first one, who is strong, who is happy. And it's very different than CW, conventional wisdom, who's happy, who's strong, etc. And as we discussed in previous classes, and you can see them at the Chai Academy, you can see them at the Chai Academy by going to thechaicenter.com/academy. Today we're going to be discussing Hayalim. Today we're going to be discussing the last one of his, and it's Ezehu Mechubad, who is respected. Who is respected? And it's not somebody who wears a Xenia suit, somebody who has a Gucci shoes. That's not it, but rather Ben Zoma says who is respected, who is honor, who is deserving of honor, one who honors others. And that's so if you honor others, then you are you are honored. You're honored. And the simple way to look at it is that there's such a thing called a symbiotic relationship, right? You respect and honor somebody, they respect and honor you. It's like looking, it's a reflection. You smile at them, they'll smile at you. You scowl at them, they'll scowl at you. You honor them, and they will honor you. You respect them, they'll honor you. It doesn't always work because you're dealing with human beings, but that is the idea. Now it's interesting to note that this is the last one of the four, because he's setting you up. Ben Zoma is setting you up. Who is wise? One who learns from everybody, right? So he's open to studying from everybody. Who is strong? One who's in control of themselves. They'll tell them when to get angry. They'll tell themselves when to get angry, when not to get angry, not just emotions out of control. And who is wealthy? One is happy with their lot. Once you have these three, then the fourth one is who's honorable, one who honors others, because the first three help you become an honorable person. The first three deal with interpersonal relationships between the person, wise, I learn from everybody. But that could be kept as a secret for yourselves. I'm happy with my lot. That's between you and yourself, and or other people. And the one is who's strong, etc. This one is clearly. It's more than just keeping it to oneself. It's honoring others. You have to. It's in order for you to get honored and get the respect that you want, is you're going to have to put out and honor others first. There's a commentary. There's a commentary who says that, truth be told, that when you honor others, you're really honoring yourself. Because if the person is deserving of the honor, then your accolades and your flattery and your words don't really add anything to the person. Yeah, it makes him feel good, but it won't necessarily add to the quality of the individual. If they're no good and they're not deserving of your words, then they're not going to add anything either. So when you honor somebody, what you're really doing is honoring yourself. You are making sure by honoring someone else that you're an honorable individual. It's not dissimilar to it says in the Torah, right? The Torah commands an emotion, and there's questions abound. How could the Bible, how could God command an emotion? And so there's a biblical verse, and it's a biblical commandment. You should love your fellow man as yourself. So the sages are crazed. What does that mean, love your fellow man as yourself? How could you love somebody? Love someone as yourself. I mean, yourself. Everybody loves themselves. What does it mean, love your fellow man as yourself? So there's one commentary that ties in nicely here that says you should love people as yourself as much as you love yourself. If you truly love yourself, then you'll be able to love others. If you're self-loathing, if you despise yourself, if you're miserable, if you just can't stand the way you look, the way you talk, how your life is, etc., then your cup is so empty. It's not even half full. It's so empty. You're not going to be able to love anybody else. So the Torah is teaching us, "V'ahavta l'orecha," you should love your fellow man. How? Kamocha, just like you love yourself. Love yourself, love others. Don't love yourself, you can't love others. And the same is true here with honor. When you honor others, it shows you're honorable. Now, the concept of honoring and respecting somebody is actually biblical also. Why? Because we read in Genesis that God created man, God created the human being in God's image. Now, that's not just hyperbole. That's not just a nicety. What does it mean in His image? And we've discussed this in the Chai Academy at great length in the Genesis course. But the idea is that everybody is created in God's image and therefore is deserving of respect. It doesn't matter race. It doesn't matter creed. It doesn't matter religion. It doesn't matter, color of skin. It doesn't matter. They are deserving of respect. Everybody. Now, they do something that's not deserving of respect. That's something else. So, do we have to respect Hitler? No. As a completely, an example. Because that's clearly the person has thrown off God and anything to do with God. So the idea is that God does not create anybody redundant. There's not one person in this world, the 7 billion plus people that we have in this world who was created for naught. Everybody is created for a reason. And therefore, because God said, or God thought, or God acted, that this person belongs here, we got to respect them. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Schnitzen of blessed memory, he said, what is a birthday? He says a birthday is the day that God decided that the world needs you. How powerful is that? So we're all created for a reason, and therefore we all deserve to be respected, including yourself. Kamocha, like you. On this Mishnah of Ben Zoma about honoring others, you'll be honored. Rashi, Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki, one of the most famous commentators, he says that who is honored? One who honors others. He says, who is honored by whom? So we were just speaking about self-honor and others' honor. He says, God. You honor God's creation, God honors you. Right? You show honor and respect, God will say, thank you, because these are my creations, these are my kids, and thank you, and I honor you as well, because you are honorable. The Barnabel, who lived in Spain, he was actually the Secretary of Finance for the Spanish prior to the Spanish Inquisition, and he was a wonderful man, and he, aside from being a rabbi, he was also once again the Commissioner of Finance, and he really brought Spain into the glory times, and they thanked him by killing the Jewish people in 1492. So Barnabas said that, and this goes along with what we said before. He says, man can only give what he possesses. So if he has honor in his heart, he can give honor. If he has love in his heart, he can give love. If he has, if he has the ability to laugh, then he'll make others laugh. You can only give what you have. So the bottom line is that we need to be honorable. We need to honor others. We have to treat others with respect. They all have a purpose in the world, and you have to honor yourself. You have to respect yourself and not hate yourself. So how does one honor oneself? Because if that's the critical ingredient to honor others, how do you honor oneself? So, I'm sure, the Psychology Today, probably most of their articles are about this, but I think one key ingredient is you have to give yourself time, right? If you run from your work to your home, to the bed, and the rat race begins again, and you don't have a half hour, an hour for yourself, for your spouse, then you're not honoring yourself. So I think that's one important component is you give yourself some time, which may mean, by the way, putting certain boundaries. Boundaries mean that after 9 o'clock, the phone gets shut off. I personally sleep with my phone in case there's an emergency, but the idea is alive and well. So you set boundaries. You can't entertain every night. There are times when it's just you and your family. Time when it's you and your wife. That's how you honor yourself. I think another way of honoring yourself is give yourself some slack. Right? You had a bad day, bad week. It's not necessarily your fault. You did something good. Pat yourself on the back. Give yourself time. You just finished a huge project, a marketing project, right? Take a little time to bask in the glory of this humongous project instead of saying, okay, what's next? Honor yourself. It's all about boundaries. It's all about boundaries. That's how you honor oneself. Talking about honoring somebody. So there is this commentary. I think it was an Italian rabbi who said that like this. He said that how does somebody know that you respect them? How does somebody know that you you honor them and you think of them highly in high regard? So if you can praise them publicly. Public doesn't mean thousands of people. Publicly means in front of someone else. Hi, I'd like you to meet so-and-so. He is an incredible orator. I'd like you to meet so-and-so. He's just a beautiful, beautiful person who has his or her priorities straight. So you when you introduce the person or when you talk about the person, you really you say something kind and nice, respectful about them, and you don't go into your shell to say, well, I'm better than them, or I know my deficiencies, and etc. You don't make it about you at all. You make it about them. So you honor them. That's an honorable thing to do. I witnessed, by the way, the story I'm about to tell you. I witnessed with my own eyes, where we're talking about honor and respect, and it's more really sensitivity. So I was a kid. I was 13. We lived in England at the time, and I came to Brooklyn to be with the Rebbe for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and Sukkot, the Jewish holidays, the busy month of September. And remarkable thing, when the Rebbe prayed, usually he sits down and everybody, and he faces the audience, and everybody can, and he's looking into his prayer book. For a couple of weeks, the Rebbe went like this, so you couldn't see his face, and that prevented the Rebbe from looking around, because his prayer book, and then he looks around, and it goes back in his prayer book. Here, the Rebbe went like this, and I didn't think anything of it, but it was, and then it stopped, but I still didn't think anything of it until somebody spilled the beans that one of the visitors that came to visit the Rebbe had a deformed face. I saw him every day, this fellow. What happened was he was, I think he was a scientist, and he had a mask on, and the mask, there was fire, and the mask destroyed his face. And the Rebbe, in order not to make that person feel self-conscious, that the Rebbe is looking at him, I don't know if he will or he won't, I'm sure he's used to it, but the Rebbe went like this. And that way, the person, he felt that, and this is what the secretary of the Rebbe said. So that's just, and I don't know if it's from the Rebbe or just a supposition, but you get the idea. That's respecting somebody and not wanting to hurt somebody, and just the sensitivity. There's an old legend about a Hasidic rabbi who, wanting to honor his host, he was invited one Friday night. He was visiting this town, and he was invited to this prestigious person, and that they they were serving food, etc. And came to multiple courses. There was a wealthy man. One of the courses they gave to this Rebbe first, and he ate it, and he goes, "Can I have some more?" And basically he ate, and then he says, "You know what, why don't we go to the next course?" And they didn't serve that course, but he did. He ate. Afterwards, the host asked him, "What happened there? You ate that course alone, and nobody else ate the course with you." So the Rebbe said, "I tasted it, and it was off. It had a foul taste. And so therefore, not wanting to hurt my host, my host family, or whomever made this dish, whatever the dish was, I decided to just handle it this way. So while I looked a little odd and I looked a little strange, I felt it was better for me to do that, and not have somebody embarrassed. So that's the way I chose to handle it. That was the honor that I wanted to give the host family. So that is I think a tremendous lesson. So he ate something off in order not to embarrass. I don't know if I'm there yet. So now there's discussions about Ben Zoma. When Ben Zoma put all these things together, who is wise? Somebody who learns from everybody, right? Who is strong? Somebody who can control themselves, right? Not seek to control others, but control themselves. Who is wealthy? Those content with their lot, with their portion, what they have. They're not living a life of pursuit for more and more and more. And who is honored? Somebody who honors others. They all have one underlying theme in all four of these. And remember, the three previous classes were all given separately. They all have one underlying theme, and that is for a person to rise above their ego, and realize that people are different, and that if somebody has more than you, don't be envious. If someone has less than you, in scholar, in anything, in wisdom, don't, don't be judgmental. So if you just take a look at it, who is wise? Someone learns from everybody, even if it's somebody who knows less than him. But that doesn't mean he can't learn something, right? There's that famous comment in the Talmud: I have learnt from my rabbis. I have learnt from my colleagues, but most of all, I've learned from my students. So that's humility. I'm willing to learn from everybody. Who is strong? One who is in control, right? You only get angry if you're arrogant. You only lose control if you're full of bluster, and you start smelting. But if you don't have an ego, and you know which way is up, which way is down, you'll be able to be in control. Once again, that's ego, or lack thereof. Ben Zoma is telling us not to have an ego. And the third one, who is wealthy, somebody's happy. I don't have an ego. I don't have to live like a Rothschild. I don't have to be. I am not Bill Gates. I don't have to model Bill Gates. And not only that, I may live next to a Jones. I don't have to emulate the Joneses. I am who I am uniquely. I have my unique gifts and my unique talents, and they have their unique gifts and unique talents. Right? And likewise here, honoring somebody, clearly, you can only honor somebody if you can let go of your own ego. So they all have that common theme. Can't be envious. Jealousy is rot. It is moral rot. If a person is jealous, it will destroy them from the inside. It also shows a lack of faith, I believe. And being arrogant is like one of the worst things you could do, because arrogance also destroys not only you, but it destroys other people. I think I told you this before. The third Lubavitcher Rebbe said that if you look at children play, then children have this huge fight, and a minute later they're sitting together again and playing. Adults, if they have a huge fight, especially in families, right? Adults, if they have huge fights, what happens? I'm not talking to this person for 20 years. Right? I'm not talking to my mother-in-law. I'm not talking to your sister. I'm not talking to this one. My brother's a skunk, etc., etc. Right? So the third Lubavitcher Rebbe said, why? Why? What makes children honor one another and they can just get along even after a rip-roaring fight? And the third Lubavitcher Rebbe says something that is, makes your jaw drop. He said as follows: children would rather be happy than be right. Adults would rather be right than be happy. How powerful is that? So the best way, going back to honor, the best way to honor others is to honor yourself. Don't be jealous, and don't be envious. Curb your ego, and this is probably one of the easier ones to do. Being happy with one's lot. Sometimes it's not easy. You can't pay the bills, or you're living hand to mouth. You should still be happy, because people have a lot less than you. A wise woman once told me, she passed away since, she said, and she was pretty wealthy. She said, there'll always be people who have more than you, and there'll always be people who have less than you. So you're average. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. And that's to me, that's raw wisdom, and I thank Miss Shell for that lesson. So you curb the ego. This is a really, really easy one, right? Honor people, right? You give them a compliment in public, and you life doesn't have to wrap around you and just simply your concentric circle. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask. I ask you please to share these classes, or let people know that there are these classes, 350 of them. thechaicenter.com/academy, or you can go on YouTube, or you can go on Spotify. There's a lot of wisdom, and it's not my wisdom. It's a wisdom that I picked up from all the sages. You know, I'm on giant shoulders. I'm a little midget, but I'm standing on giant shoulders. A lot of wisdom to convey, and a lot of people could really learn a thing or two about living. God bless. You can always contact me at rabbi@thechaicenter.com.